Hey everybody, today's video I'm going to be reviewing this budget stick welder as well as learning how to stick weld live on camera for the first time in my life. On top of that, I'll be sharing some tips and tricks that I learned going through the process of making this thing work. And on top of all that, I'll be explaining some fun ideas I have to turn this machine into a full-fledged TIG welder. So if that sounds like fun, stick around for the whole video. First off, this machine is made by a company named Sefaspe, if I'm pronouncing that right. I see 4 machines on their website. This one's in the middle of the range at about $139 on Amazon. It's dual voltage, 120 volt, 220 volt, max 205 amps. And so we've got, let's see. I'm guessing this is a mask darkening lens. It's fallen out of the protective cover. So I've got 2 cables, a ground or an electrode clamp and a ground clamp. Let's take everything. It's like a 120 to 220 volt adapter, user manual, and it came with some welding rod. It looks like it's 2.5 millimeter 60-13. So 5 sticks of that. This is a tiny little machine. I didn't think they even could make welders that small. I've seen these. This actually is the first welding mask that looks like you put it together. So pretty simple interface. Positive electrode, negative, and it looks like just a amperage adjustment. And it looks like it'll tell you if there's, I guess OC probably means overcurrent, 110 and 220. So it's really simple. It just has a knob. So model numbers, this is the MMA205SE. It's an IGBT technology. I don't know what that is. Some kind of small transformer technology that works pretty good. I see it in a bunch of different welders, this class. It's surprisingly light. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 pounds, something like that. You could take this, put this in the back of your truck. If you're off-road, you go, out where there's, no garages to fix your stuff. And if you got electricity, something like this might actually be pretty handy. All right, so enough chit-chat. Let's plug it in and see how it works. All right, they told me that with the 7018 rods, that it works better if the electrode holder is on the positive terminal. So I think I'm going to try the electrode on the negative terminal with the things they got me, and or the things they gave me, and then see if that works. See how that works out. Maybe we'll try them both ways and see if it makes a difference. So let's turn it on. Got a fan that turns on. I don't know if it'll turn off. 30 is the bottom end of the output voltage, and up to 205 on 120 volts. I don't know how long it'll go at that amperage, but we can find out. And so I'm going to turn this off before plugging in. It's like anything. Ground clamp. Guessing this goes like that. And we will try. All right, here we go. Try not to laugh. We'll see how bad this is. I think it went out because I did not continue pressing it into the weld, but let's see how. You got to be careful with this one. You can't just lay it down on the table when you're done. You have to shut it off. There it is. It did not the prettiest weld, but it's also not the ugliest one I've ever done. I think we should find out how it does at actually welding two pieces of metal together. So let's figure that out. Got the sample clamped to the table, and I'm just gonna put a tack weld on here to start. Okay, I did some research after I made the video, and it turns out that 7018 electrodes can be kind of tricky to restart because they form an oxide coating over the tip, and so you have to kind of file it off if you want to restart it again. So, not the machine's fault. That one's my fault. This is where everyone would put one of those 1 hour later videos, memes, but I hate those, and so I won't do that to you. But it probably did take me about an hour and a whole bunch of rods to learn how to get to this point. Alright, so much better penetration near the end. So I was shaking a lot in the beginning, so that likely hurt my welding process. Let's clamp it up and see if we can break it. So, and it is pretty good. You can see, this doesn't appear to be weakened at all. So even though I didn't get full penetration all the way through, the material's bending and not the weld breaking. So that's good. So I did a little research, and one of the things that they say is good to test is the duty cycle of the machine. You know, whether it needs to shut off after a very short amount of time or operation to cool down or not, or whether it can, ultimately the question is, can it burn through a whole stick of wire or a whole electrode and not shut itself down. So we're gonna try that. I guess we're gonna call that done. All right, so the review. It turns on, it welds. I had a little bit of a learning curve to figure out, but I think I got it now. Heck, for 139 bucks, it was a pretty good deal. And it's small and lightweight. I mean, this could fit in the trunk of a car, whereas, you know, this thing, gas bottles and all that stuff, I mean, that's not gonna easily go in the back of a car. So if a stick welder is what you need, this one seems to work pretty good. I don't have any long-term, experience with it, but I think I'm gonna plan to keep using it. So at the beginning of this video, I hinted at a special little project or a plan I had for this welder, and this is the time to talk about it. The question I have is, what could we do to turn this welder that doesn't have any TIG welding features on it directly out of the box? What if we could add those later for less money than it would cost us to build or buy a full-featured TIG welder? The first problem we'd have to solve is how to make this machine provide gas to our TIG torch. A TIG torch has two hoses going into a single plug that provides both the current and the gas. But my little baby TIG welder only has electrode connections. So what do we do about that? I found on Amazon a little what's called a gas solenoid, and you can use electricity to essentially use it as a little switch. You can have gas on the input, and when the switch when you put electricity through it, it allows the gas to come on and off when you take the power off the gas solenoid. So I could have a gas valve next to my electrode and provide both power and gas, but I need to find a TIG torch that has separate gas and electrical connections, or either adapt it. So there are torches that have separate gas and electricity feed lines, and so that problem is overcomable. The second question is, how do I make this gas valve turn on and off when I want it to. If you're not familiar, the gas valve on the types of torches that have separate gas and electrical inputs have just a little knob where you open the gas switch manually, and the gas flows until you shut it off. And so in between, before you start, you have to turn the gas on, and it's flowing even while you're setting up and just getting ready. And so it's a little bit of a waste of gas. What if there was a way to turn that gas on and off with a foot pedal, just like you would with a full-featured TIG machine? And so if you're not familiar, this is a foot pedal for my larger TIG machine. And essentially, you step on it. There's a little feature here. You can step on it just a little bit, and the gas turns on. And then as you step down on it further, it turns the electrical current on and increases the current as you step on harder. So this foot pedal has a very specific electrical connector that goes on the front of a welding machine. I'm assuming they're all standard, because you can buy different pedals that fit on different machines. So because we don't have a machine that has this style connector on it, we don't actually have to use this style foot pedal or this foot pedal that's compatible with this. We could create our own foot pedal that simply had a switch that activated when you stepped on it and told this gas valve to turn on and off, right? So that's one problem we could probably solve. Second question is, how do we adjust the welding current while we're welding? Right now, this welder and most others like it just have a simple knob, and so I would have to have a buddy over across the room, hey, turn it up. Oh, more, down, up, down. That's not gonna work, right? And so we need a way to turn this knob remotely. So what if we had a motor mounted very close to this knob that as the motor turned, we could turn the amperage up or down at the same time? That sounds plausible. So what would we need to do to control this motor with our same foot pedal that we're designing that only has a switch in it? And so maybe a switch is not what we need. Maybe what we need is a potentiometer. So what a potentiometer is essentially just a user adjustable resistor. And that's probably a really butchered explanation, so try not to hate me too much in the comments from the electrical engineers. But as you turn this knob, we can measure what the resistance or voltage is on these terminals and use that as a way to determine what position the pedal might be in. So we could use the potentiometer to turn the gas off when it's at its lowest position, and then anything above the lowest position, we could use that to turn the gas on. And that would be essentially simulating what's in our foot pedal. But we could use that same strategy to turn this motor up and down depending on where the position of the foot pedal is. It won't only be on or off, but it will be on and ever increasing until there's a maximum set point. So we can use this potentiometer to tell something to turn this motor a certain amount depending on where the position of the pedal is. So what can we use to measure the voltage of this potentiometer, as well as talk to this motor, as well as talk to this gas solenoid? They make very small computers that allow you to do this kind of thing. This one happens to be an Arduino. It is I think it's the Nano style, so it is literally, the computer itself is about, not much bigger than my finger. I've got it mounted on this board that allows me to more easily plug in wires, and I think this was, I'll have to figure out the price, but this is really, really cheap to get these things. So my plan is to use this computer to receive input from this potentiometer telling me where the position of our pedal is going to be, to both turn this valve for gas on and off, as well as move this motor to turn my voltage or my amperage up and down while I'm stepping on the pedal and releasing it. And on top of all that, we'll need some container to protect the computer, the valve, and the electrical components from getting dirty, dusty, weld spatter falling on them, all that kind of stuff. So maybe we can get into some 3D printing of a housing that we can either set right next to this box or mount it on top or do something simple. So I was able to find all this stuff on Amazon for just over 50 bucks. And when you account for the fact that a TIG torch that works with this setup is around $50, that means our total add-on cost for our mini DIY TIG welder is about 100 bucks. Not accounting for anything I've missed that may need to be adjusted when the actual video comes out. And so if that kind of thing sounds like fun, stick around for the next video, do all the YouTube things you need to do to get notified for that, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.